Have you ever wondered what's really happening to your body? Why do your mornings no longer start with the same energy and readiness, even when your mind still wants it but your body doesn't respond? If you're over 60 and feeling like your body is starting to go silent, let me tell you something important. It's not necessarily about aging. No, not really. After working with thousands of older men for over 3 decades, I can tell you this with certainty. The root of this issue is often much simpler. It's a deficiency in key nutrients. I'm Dr. James, and for more than 30 years, I've devoted my career to studying the deep connection between nutrition and male vitality. What continues to surprise me isn't that so many men lose their performance or stamina, it's that they blame age, when the true culprit lies within. Their bodies are running low on the very fuel they need to function like men. Here's the unfortunate truth. Most men over 60 are walking around with dangerously low levels of vitamin D, B12, zinc, and essential antioxidants, and they don't even know it. They turn to temporary fixes, pills, patches, even hormone injections, while ignoring the biological foundation that must be restored first. Sexual health is not just about hormones or erections. It's a reflection of your metabolism, cellular energy, immune resilience, and even your emotional state. When you're tired, anxious, sleep-deprived, or stressed, your body reacts. But when vitamin deficiencies persist, those reactions become your new normal, gradually stealing away your strength, your confidence, and your identity. I'm not here to sell you a miracle. I'm here to give you back control through what you eat, absorb, and consistently support. Small changes in nutrition can create massive shifts not only in your physical health but also in your sense of confidence, joy, and intimacy. The thought was long gone, so don't give up just yet. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 5 clinically studied vitamins that help men over 60 rebuild energy, stamina, performance, and erections without relying on medication. I'll also show you how to combine them for maximum impact and share a simple morning habit that could bring real change in just 7 to 10 days. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. What you're about to learn isn't theory, it's real-world wisdom, designed to help you reclaim your strength and masculine confidence. And if this gives you even a bit of hope, type 1 in the comments below, because this might just be the start of your comeback. Now, let's begin with the first vitamin I call the spark plug for energy, performance, and male function after 60. 1. Let me ask you something personal. Have your mornings become quiet? Not just in noise, but in energy, motivation, and that unmistakable male spark that once greeted you before your feet even hit the floor? If you're over 60 and you've noticed that your body isn't starting up like it used to, I want you to lean in, because in my 30 years of helping older men reclaim their strength and intimacy, I've discovered that it's rarely just about age. More often, it's about something missing specifically. Vitamin D, I call it the spark plug of the bedroom. Without it, your engine doesn't turn over, no matter how new or willing the other parts might be. It's not about testosterone shots or magic pills. It's about restoring a foundation your body silently depends on. I remember a man named Walter, 67 years old, who came into my clinic with the same look I've seen on countless men, shoulders low, eyes tired, a kind of quiet frustration that words couldn't quite express. He said to me, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore. I'm tired all the time. Mornings are dull, and when it's time to be intimate, it's like nothing wakes up." He assumed it was aging, but what he didn't realize, and what most men don't, is that low vitamin D can cause a domino effect: decreased testosterone, poor mood, lack of energy, inflammation, and even nervous system dysfunction. In short, it silently erodes your vitality physically and emotionally. When we ran Walter's blood work, his vitamin D level came back at 18 ng/ml. To give you context, I want that number to be over 50 in my male patients over 60. That told me everything I needed. I started him on 5,000 IU of high-quality vitamin D3 every morning, paired with a source of healthy fat like avocado or pasture-raised eggs, because fat helps with absorption. Within 3 weeks, I got a phone call from him. I'll never forget the tone in his voice. It had a spark I hadn't heard before. He said, "Doctor, I don't know what kind of magic this is, but I woke up this morning with a flagpole I haven't seen in over a year." It wasn't magic. It was biology finally getting what it needed. Here's what makes vitamin D so powerful. It doesn't just support testosterone. It also sharpens your mind, lifts your mood, strengthens your immune system, and reduces inflammation. That last one is critical. Chronic inflammation is like static interference in your body's electrical system, disrupting blood flow, damaging nerves, and blocking the very signals that allow you to perform in the bedroom. But when your vitamin D levels rise, your system begins to stabilize. Circulation improves, your brain fires better, your hormonal signals become clearer, and your confidence returns, not just in intimacy, but in your overall sense of being alive again. Now, an important note: always choose vitamin D3, not D2. D3 is the natural form your body recognizes. And for men over 60, I often recommend combining it with vitamin K2. Why? Because while D3 helps absorb calcium, K2 directs that calcium to your bones and away from your arteries. This protects not just your performance, but your heart. Walter wasn't an outlier. He was the rule. One of countless men who thought they were broken when really, they were just running low on the fuel they needed to thrive. Once that fuel is restored, the change is not only physical, it's emotional. You start standing taller, laughing louder, feeling like yourself again. And here's the truth. Vitamin D is just the beginning. Because even if you've got your testosterone firing on all cylinders, it won't translate into stamina, focus, or staying power unless the next key nutrient is present. It's the difference between turning the ignition and actually having gas in the tank. Ready to find out what that is? Let's talk about it next. 2. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever felt like you were running on empty, even after a full night's sleep? Not just tired, but mentally checked out, emotionally disconnected, like the light is on but no one's really home. This is something I've heard over and over again in my practice, and one patient, in particular, stays with me. A 72-year-old gentleman with sharp clothes, polished shoes, and a dimmed spirit. He sat across from me and said, "Doctor, I'm not just tired, I feel drained. There's no gas in the tank. I nod off after breakfast. I've lost interest in everything and my wife says I'm physically there but emotionally gone." That hit me and I knew exactly where to look. Because for countless men over 60, that slow unraveling of energy, motivation, and presence isn't laziness. It's not depression. It's a silent deficiency in vitamin B12, one that steals vitality without a single warning bell. Now, B12 might not sound glamorous, but it's the power generator of your entire body. It's what keeps your red blood cells healthy and your nervous system firing properly. Without it, oxygen struggles to circulate. Your brain slows down. Muscles stop responding the way they used to, and both physical and mental energy quietly slip away until you barely notice they're gone. There's another layer to this. As we age, the stomach naturally produces less acid, and without sufficient stomach acid, your body can't absorb B12 from food no matter how much steak you eat. It's a biological trap. You might think you're doing everything right, but you're still running a deficit. When we tested Charles' B12 levels, they were well below optimal. Not low enough to trigger a medical emergency, but low enough to quietly dismantle his sharpness, his stamina, and your 7's performance in the bedroom. Most men don't realize that B12 plays a key role not just in energy and focus, but in sexual response, arousal, and stamina. The nervous system needs it. Circulation needs it. Confidence feeds on it. Without it, you're fighting an uphill battle and most men don't even know they're in it. I started Charles on a daily sublingual dose of 2000 mcg of methylcobalamin, bioactive form of B12 that bypasses the gut and goes directly into the bloodstream. Within 2 weeks he was a different man. His voice had more weight, his eyes lit up, and during his next visit, his wife came with him and said, smiling through tears, "I have my husband back." That moment wasn't about lab numbers. It was about reconnection, mental, emotional, and yes, physical. He was laughing again. He was walking with intention. He was present in his body and in his relationship. And it all started with restoring something so small, yet so critical: vitamin B12. Now, I recommend methylcobalamin specifically because it's the active form that your body can use immediately. No conversion needed. It's fast, effective, and especially important for men over 60, with declining digestive absorption. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When B12 is combined with the right supporting nutrients, its effects amplify. Neural communication sharpens. Blood flows more efficiently. Erections become stronger not just from hormonal triggers, but from the improved dialogue between your brain, your circulatory system, and your physical response. Charles, the story isn't unique, it's common. Most men chalk their fatigue up to just getting older, while their systems are simply starved of what they need to function like men. And while B12 is transformative, the next vitamin we're about to discuss brings another level of restoration, because it doesn't just energize or clarify, it directly protects your reproductive health, boosts blood flow, and may be the missing link in why your body doesn't respond when intimacy calls. Let's look deeper into that right now. 3. Let me ask you something that most men are too ashamed to say out loud. What do you do when you still love your partner, but your body no longer responds the way it used to? When intimacy shifts from joy to pressure, from connection to quiet disappointment. I've seen this struggle more times than I can count, and each time it carries a heavy emotional weight. One patient I'll never forget was Henry, 66 years old. He sat in my office in silence for nearly 5 minutes before he could speak. When he finally did, he looked down at the floor and said, "Doctor, I don't feel like a man anymore. I love my wife, but I can't perform. I can't maintain an erection. I feel like I'm fading." His voice trembled, and in that moment, I could feel the silent burden he had been carrying, not just physical, but deeply emotional. We reviewed Henry's health profile. His testosterone levels were surprisingly solid for his age. His heart was strong, blood pressure was stable, yet something was missing. And that's when I asked about vitamin I, a nutrient most men overlook, but one I consider essential, especially after 60. You see, vitamin E is what I call the guardian of reproductive vitality. It's more than a supplement, it's a powerful antioxidant that protects your cells. enhances vascular flexibility, and supports the production of nitric oxide, which is absolutely critical for achieving and sustaining a healthy erection. What many men fail to realize is that sexual function isn't only about testosterone or desire, it's about circulation. Without proper blood flow, nothing happens. Vitamin E helps relax and open up the blood vessels, allowing smoother flow and protecting the delicate tissues involved in arousal and intimacy. Think of it like the oil in an engine. It keeps things running smoothly and helps prevent breakdowns that often come with age. So I started Henry on a daily dose of 400 IU of natural D-alpha tocopherol, not the synthetic DL version. I told him to take it with a meal that included healthy fats like olive oil or nuts to ensure absorption. It didn't work like a magic switch, but by the third week something shifted. He began waking up with spontaneous erections again. His sensitivity returned. Most importantly, his confidence began to rebuild. He told me, "Doctor, I finally feel like I can look my wife in the eyes again." That moment had nothing to do with numbers or charts. It had everything to do with restoring his sense of masculinity, worth, and presence. This kind of transformation isn't something a prescription drug alone can offer, because performance isn't just physical, it's emotional. It's spiritual. It's about feeling desired again, about reconnecting with your partner without fear, hesitation, or shame. Now, one thing to remember, not all vitamin E is created equal. Many over-the-counter supplements use synthetic forms that are far less effective. Look for natural D-alpha tocopherol and always take it with a source of fat to help your body absorb and utilize it properly. Henry's story reminds me of just how many men are suffering in silence, believing their best days are behind them, when in fact, their bodies are simply missing the right building blocks. And the beauty of vitamin E is that it doesn't just support sexual performance. It strengthens the heart, nourishes the skin, boosts immunity, and most importantly, brings you back into emotional connection at the exact moments that matter most. But we're not done yet, because even if you're taking all the right vitamins, there's one mineral, quiet, often forgotten, that could be the deal breaker. It controls sleep, calms the nerves, balances blood pressure, and without it, everything from circulation to intimacy can start to crumble. Let's uncover that next. For let me ask you something we don't talk about enough. When was the last time you truly felt rested, grounded, and in control, not just during the day, but at night, when connection matters most? You see, in all my years working with older men, I've learned that peak performance, whether in the gym, the boardroom, or the bedroom, doesn't start with testosterone. It starts with your nervous system. And one of the most overlooked yet powerful regulators of that system is magnesium, a mineral I call the bedroom. Now, I'm not saying magnesium puts you to sleep. What it does is release the pressure valve, the built-up stress, tension, and hidden inflammation that silently accumulate as we age. I remember a patient, Robert, 71 years old, a retired firefighter, strong as an ox but clearly running on fumes. He said, "Doc, I'm constantly tense. I can't sleep. I feel stiff, anxious, and as much as I want to be close to my wife, I can't relax enough to enjoy it." This wasn't about desire. This was about a body that simply couldn't settle enough to connect. And the moment he said that, I knew. We weren't dealing with a hormone problem, we were dealing with a magnesium deficiency. As we age, our magnesium reserves drop naturally. On top of that, common medications like blood pressure pills and antacids deplete it further. Alcohol, caffeine, and stress only make the problem worse. And once magnesium runs low, everything starts to unravel. Sleep becomes shallow. Blood vessels constrict, blood pressure rises, muscles stay clenched, the mind races, and when it's time to perform, the body says, "Not now." With Robert, I started him on 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate every evening. It's gentle on the stomach and highly absorbable, ideal for older men. 2 weeks later, he walked into my office smiling in a way I hadn't seen before. "Doctor," he said, "I finally slept through the night, and for the first time in months, I was able to be with my wife without fear, without overthinking, and without failure." That transformation wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Magnesium, unlike flashy hormone boosters or quick-fix pills, works quietly in the background, but without it, the whole system stalls. Circulation weakens, erections become unreliable, recovery slows, and even if your mind is willing, your body feels stuck in survival mode. Magnesium relaxes and widens the blood vessels, allowing oxygen-rich blood to reach where it's needed most. It also plays a key role in activating vitamin D, which, as we discussed, is crucial for testosterone production. And perhaps most important, magnesium restores deep restorative sleep, the kind that resets your mood, lowers anxiety, and brings back the quiet confidence every man deserves to feel, especially when it matters most. But there's something else, something deeper. When you start sleeping well again, when your body finally gets the message that it's safe to rest, everything changes. You feel solid, you feel present, you feel capable again, not just in intimacy, but in life. Now, as powerful as magnesium is, we're not done. Because even if you're getting all the right vitamins and minerals, there's one more essential nutrient that holds everything together. If testosterone is the flame, this is the raw fuel that keeps it burning. Without it, strength, desire, and performance all quietly fade. Let me show you what it is and how to start using it tonight. 5. Let me ask you something most men don't know how to express when that fire inside you starts to dim, when your drive slips away little by little. What do you blame? Age, stress, fatigue, or is it just ... life? I've asked myself that same question. I've heard it echoed silently in the eyes of countless men sitting across from me, men who still want to feel alive, strong, and connected. And more often than not, the answer doesn't lie in something dramatic. It lies in something incredibly simple. Zinc. Zinc is what I call the testosterone multiplier. Without it, your body can't even begin to produce healthy levels of testosterone, let alone sustain them. It's not just helpful, it's foundational. It's the raw material, the building block, the spark plug in the hormonal engine. And here's the brutal truth. Most men over 60 are zinc deficient. It gets depleted through sweat, stress, ejaculation, alcohol, and processed food. Our soil is stripped, our diets are shallow, and over time our energy and masculinity get quietly drained along with it. I'll never forget Thomas, 69, sharp, active, but deeply tired. He sat across from me and said, "Doc, I don't feel broken, I'm not in pain, but I don't feel like myself anymore. The fire's just gone." His testosterone was on the lower end of normal. But what caught my eye was his zinc level critically low. I started him on 30 milligrams of zinc percolonate daily, along with a small amount of copper, for balance. Within a month, the change wasn't just in how he moved, it was in how he stood. Straighter, more confident. His voice had depth again, his eyes were alive. He looked me in the eye and said, "I feel like I got my edge back." That's what zinc does. Not in a flashy, artificial way, but by restoring what your body is built to do naturally. Zinc supports far more than testosterone. It protects prostate health, strengthens immunity, enhances sperm production, accelerates post-intimacy recovery. It improves erection reliability and staying power. And the benefits extend beyond the bedroom. Men with optimized zinc levels report clearer thinking, improved mood, and even stronger nails and hair. But here's the part almost no one talks about. Zinc doesn't work alone. It needs to be part of a team, a group of nutrients that amplify each other's effects. When taken in the right combination, at the right time, something powerful happens. You no longer feel like you're managing your age. You start feeling like you're reclaiming your life. And that brings us to a critical shift. Up until now, we've focused on the individual nutrients, the what, but now it's time to talk about how. Because the real transformation happens, not just by adding a supplement here or there, but by understanding how these 5 nutrients, vitamin D, B12E, magnesium, and zinc work better together than they ever could alone. When you understand this synergy, that's when the real magic begins. Let me show you exactly how to unlock it. 6. Here's a question most men never asked, but should. What if the real reason your body isn't responding isn't about what you're missing, but how your body is or isn't working together? You see, one of the biggest mistakes I see older men make is believing in the myth of the magic pill, that one miracle supplement, one fix-all nutrient, will bring everything back online. And I get it. When you're tired, frustrated, and just want to feel like yourself again, it's tempting to look for a single solution. But the truth is the body doesn't work in isolation. It's a system, a network. And like a symphony, it only plays in harmony when every instrument is tuned and working together. That's exactly how these 5 nutrients function. Individually, they're powerful, but together, they unlock something far greater. I remember a patient, 73, who walked into my office with a bag full of half-used supplements. Vitamin D from 2 years ago, a cheap zinc pill, a dusty multivitamin he didn't remember buying. He said, "Doc, I've been trying, but I still feel off." So we sat down, reviewed everything, and the pattern became clear. He wasn't using the right forms. He wasn't taking them consistently. And most importantly, he wasn't combining them in a way his body could actually benefit from. His engine was running, but every part was out of sync. So we rebuilt from the ground up a daily plan, consistent, targeted dosing, vitamin D for testosterone and energy, magnesium for deep rest and nervous system balance, vitamin E for blood flow and intimacy, B12 to sharpen his nervous system, zinc to restore the hormonal core. Within 6 weeks, Ron returned and said something I'll never forget. "I finally feel steady, like everything in me is working with me, not against me." That's what happens when you stop throwing random pills at a problem and start giving your body what it actually needs. In the right way, at the right time. What most people don't realize is how interdependent these nutrients truly are. Vitamin D, for example, depends on magnesium to be converted into its active form. Without enough magnesium, even a high dose of D3 won't deliver what you're hoping for. Zinc boosts testosterone, but vitamin E protects those hormones from oxidative damage, making them last longer and work better. B12 helps nerves communicate with muscles and sexual organs, but without adequate magnesium, those signals get fuzzy. These aren't just nutrients, they're teammates. And when you combine them properly, you don't just feel better in one area, you elevate the entire system. Your brain sharpens, your body responds, your energy stabilizes. Intimacy starts to feel natural again, not forced. And your confidence returns not from a gimmick, but from a body that's finally equipped to function the way it was designed. This is why I don't believe in one-pill solutions. Not for men over 60. Not when the system itself requires coordination. Not chaos. When your vitamins work together, your body doesn't just survive, it thrives. But even the best nutrients in the world can't help if you're making one silent mistake, a mistake I see far too often in men trying to reclaim their health. A mistake that quietly stalls your progress, keeps you stuck, and can even undo the benefits of all 5 of these essential nutrients. Let's talk about that next and how to avoid it. 7. Let me ask you one final honest question. What if the only thing standing between the man you were and the man you still could be is one silent mistake you don't even realize you're making? After over 30 years of working with men, I've seen a pattern repeat again and again, a quiet, powerful mistake. Not from laziness, not from ignorance, but from frustration, from trying too many things that didn't work, from slowly accepting the lie that this is just how it is now, and that mistake, giving up on your body before you've ever given it what it truly needs. I remember sitting with Gerald, 68, retired school principal, sharp mind, warm heart, exhausted spirit. He told me he tried everything: medications, energy drinks, a few vitamins here and there, even some late-night TV supplements that promised more than they ever delivered. Still, he was drained, disconnected. He looked at me, defeated, and said, "Doctor, I think I'm just too far gone." I looked him in the eye and said, as gently but firmly as I could, "No, Gerald, you're not too far gone. You've just never had the right pieces. Or a real plan." That's the core mistake so many men make. It's not that they don't care, it's that they treat symptoms instead of supporting the system. One pill for energy, one for sleep, one for intimacy, one for anxiety. None of them work together. It's like trying to patch a sinking boat with duct tape and hoping it floats. What most men don't realize is that your body thrives on rhythm, not guesswork. It needs consistency, it needs structure, and it needs daily nourishment that targets your hormones, your nervous system, your sleep cycle, and your circulation all at once. Too many men take a vitamin once or twice, feel nothing, toss it in a drawer, or they take the wrong form, at the wrong dose, at the wrong time, and conclude supplements don't work. But your body is not a light switch, it's a system, a symphony, and real change requires time, trust, and alignment. With Gerald, it started simple. Just 5 nutrients, the same 5 we've explored in this series, delivered daily, in the right form at the right time. The shift didn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happened quietly, gradually. After a month, his energy returned, his sleep deepened, his confidence rose. At his follow-up appointment, his wife pulled me aside with tears in her eyes and whispered, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." That's the power of doing things the right way. So if you're watching this and wondering, could this really work for me? Here's my honest answer. You won't feel it all overnight, but if you commit just 5 minutes a day with the right support and the right plan, you will feel a difference. You'll sleep better, you'll think more clearly, you'll wake up with more drive, and yes, you'll feel stronger, more connected, and more present in the moments that matter most, because you are not too old, you are not too far gone, and you are certainly not finished. You're simply at a stage in life where your body requires a different kind of fuel, but once you start giving it that fuel intentionally, consistently, you'll be amazed at just how quickly the engine starts roaring back to life. 8. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time your day felt like it had rhythm, not just routine? A sense of calm predictability that gave you strength instead of draining it. There's something deeply powerful about rhythm, especially for men over 60, when a man begins to feel like time is speeding up or that his body is slipping away. It's rarely just about aging. More often, it's the absence of rhythm that makes life feel unstable. One day full of energy, the next, completely depleted, clear-headed, in the morning, foggy by late afternoon. You feel adrift, and that drifting quietly eats away at your confidence, your mood, even your relationships. But here's what I've seen over and over again in my clinical work. When a man gives his body a consistent rhythm, something incredible starts to happen. The fog lifts. Mornings feel stronger. Evenings feel more restful. And most importantly, your body starts to trust you again. This is what the daily vitality habit is all about. Not just popping a pill, but building a simple, sustainable structure that supports your energy, performance, and vitality every day. One of my patients, Douglas, 70 years old, said to me, "Doctor, I just need something I can actually do. Not another chore, not another failed attempt." So we built a plan, not complicated, not overwhelming. Just a 3-part rhythm he could follow without thinking. Each morning with breakfast, Douglas took his vitamin D3 with K2, zinc, and sublingual B12. That alone gave him a boost of mental clarity and steady alertness before the day truly began. At lunch, he didn't take more pills. He simply made sure to include healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, so his body could absorb nutrients effectively. Then, in the evening just before bed, he took magnesium glycinate and natural vitamin E to help his body unwind, rest deeply, and repair overnight. And it worked. Within a few weeks, Douglas didn't just feel better. He stood taller, laughed more, felt closer to his wife and, most importantly, he reconnected with himself. He told me, for the first time in years, I feel like I'm in control again. Not perfect, but stable, and that's what most men truly want. Not miracles, but reliable progress. Stability that brings them back to who they were before the noise of age got in the way. This habit isn't about doing more, it's about doing what's right. The right nutrients, used the right way, at the right time. When your body receives what it needs on a consistent rhythm, everything begins to synchronize. Testosterone begins to rise naturally. Erections become stronger and more reliable, energy stabilizes, sleep deepens, mental clarity sharpens, and intimacy no longer feels like a struggle, it feels like a return to the man you've always been underneath it all. And it's never too late to start. Whether you're 60, 70, or beyond, your body can still respond. It can still improve. It can still surprise you if you start nourishing it with intention. Now, maybe you're wondering, how do I stay motivated? How do I keep going when life that gets busy or when progress feels slow? That's what I want to leave you with in this final message. Because what I'm about to share isn't just medical, it's personal. It's the truth that has kept thousands of my patients moving forward, with hope, purpose, and quiet strength. Let's talk about that together. So here we are at the end of this journey, and perhaps the beginning of a new one. By now you've seen the pattern. This isn't about chasing youth or reversing the clock. It's about restoring connection to your energy, your focus, your confidence, and your relationships. You've learned that 5 nutrients, vitamin D, B12, E, magnesium, and zinc, aren't just supplements, they're building blocks. They each play a unique role in restoring what time, stress, and neglect may have gradually stolen. But taken together, and taken consistently, they become something more, a daily rhythm of renewal. And the truth is, real transformation doesn't happen in a burst. It happens in quiet moments. It happens each time you show up for yourself, even for 5 minutes a day. It happens when you stop patching symptoms and instead start supporting the patch and symptoms that carries you through every moment of life. I've seen men who thought their best days were behind them stand taller, speak stronger, reconnect with their partners, rediscover their joy. And almost all of them say the same thing in different words. I feel like myself again. So if you're still wondering, will this really work for me? Be honest, be open, and start. Start with a plan. Keep it simple, stay consistent. Your body is still listening. Your strength is still in there. It's just waiting for the right fuel and the right rhythm to return now. I'd love to hear from you. What part of this resonated most? Have you tried any of these nutrients before? Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Read them, and they help me serve you better. And if this video spoke to something inside you, if it reminded you that you're not done yet, give it a like to let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button and ring the bell. It's not just for updates, it's a way of saying, I'm ready to move forward. Because you're not done, you're just getting started.